UFC is back this weekend with another fight night, this time in Oklahoma City. I'm going to go through the entire card, give you guys the notes and style of every single fighter, as well as my best bets and prediction for every single fight. If you guys want the full betting recap, go ahead and fast forward this part of the video. Let's get into it. Kicking off the card, we got Ana Melisano and Dione Barbosa. Ana Melisano, she's literally on this season of The Ultimate Fighter. She was the first overall pick of the entire show on Team Bisping, and then she got finished immediately in round one in her very first fight. Outside of that, though, she's 6-1 from the regional scene. She's coming off of 3 straight finishes in Fury FC. Technically, the Ultimate Fighter isn't counting against their pro record, so she's still 6-1. She does get hella screen time on the show. I think if you actually watch the show, you're not very surprised that she's already getting a shot in the UFC. They have her on camera all the time. You could tell this was supposed to be like their star of the show, and unfortunately, she stunk it up. Her style, she's actually a really solid kickboxer. She's got good length and pretty good finishing instincts and ability. She struggled really badly, though, in her tough fight. She just looked really vulnerable, couldn't get anything going. Moment might have been a little bit too big. Got taken down and submitted fairly easily against the girl who I don't think is bad, but definitely looked way better than her. Her opponent, Dione Barbosa, she went 5-2 on the regional scene, gets a round 1 sub on the Contender Series. Since then, she's 3-2 in the UFC. Got a really dodgy win in her last fight. Like, field goal kicked this girl in the face, separated her from consciousness, illegally, by the way. And then the fight was allowed to be continued. She ended up winning that fight. She probably would have won it regardless. But she's come up short pretty much every time she's been given a step up. But she is still, regardless, a really solid women's MMA fighter, dangling around the top 15 type area. Her style, she's a really good BJJ grappler, plenty of submission ability. She can struggle defensively on the ground, though. Has some solid boxing, but it's pretty low output. Just looks to take the fight to the mat and go to work there where she's her best. My prediction for this one, no surprise here. Give me Dione Barbosa to get this one done via decision. I actually think Ana Melisano is better than what she looked on The Ultimate Fighter. She does have some really solid kickboxing. She's done really good stuff. They showed footage of her sparring like Mackenzie Dern, who's the champion of this weight division. She looked great. It's just, if the moment on Tough was too big and you had that type of performance, I can only imagine what it's going to look like, on a UFC debut stage. Dione Barbosa is a really solid fighter as well. Like, I actually rate her grappling pretty high. So I think she'll probably take her down, control her, might find a submission, might not, but regardless, I don't think it'll be close. A Barbosa sub at -110 is the only decent value here. Barbosa's a huge favorite, as she probably should be. Maybe a crafty Ana Melisano upset KO might be brewing, but I don't think it's reasonable enough to put on here. I got Dione Barbosa get it done via decision. The return of Alvin Hines is up next. Real ones have been waiting for this. RJ Harris and Alvin Hines. RJ Harris, he's 5-0 undefeated fighter from the Ohio regional scene. This guy is fighting out of Zanesville, Ohio, for all of my friends that are probably watching from Ohio. He's got 4 submission wins in 5 fights, and he's making his UFC debut. He actually has a win over Cleveland, somebody from Tiffin that's making his Dana White Contender Series debut this upcoming season. His style, he's a tall, well-built guy with good reach, but where he really thrives is his BJJ submission ability. He's a specialist there. He's been submitting people left and right on the regional scene. Yeah, I mean, you can argue what you want about competition, but regardless, he's kind of running through everybody that he's been facing so far. Like I said, very well-built guy. He's going to have a big size advantage in this one. His opponent, Alvin Hines, 7-0 fighter from the regional scene, debuted at UFC 317, had an absolute war with Honada Deniz in the very first fight of the card. It was one of my favorite fights ever. Got popped for PEDs, and now he's making his return after a year-long layoff. He's only been training MMA since 2021, though, as well, and he has been doing a pretty damn good job. His style, he's actually a pretty athletic guy. He's got really solid kickboxing and a strong gas tank as well. That's kind of what separated him so far in the heavyweight division. He's okay with this fight getting dragged into deep waters. He can continue that output. I think all 3 judges scored him winning round 3 against Deniz. Was more of a grappler on the regionals, but was more willing to stand in exchange with Honada Deniz. Yes, he got pieced up and he lost that fight pretty decisively, but he was way more willing to just stand in exchange. He didn't even really try, I don't think, to take the fight to the ground. I will say being off roids can make a very big difference in just about everything, though. Durability is a big thing, obviously, punching power. So we'll see. My prediction for this one, I do have Alvin Hines get it done via round 2 TKO. But this is a big toss-up just because of the PEDs things. If that had nothing to do with it, and Alvin Hines is 100% going to perform how he has performed his entire career, I would take him without a doubt. He moves well. He's got good grappling of his own, actually. RJ Harris hasn't really fought anybody that's, convincing me that he can just take down and submit Alvin Hines immediately like he has done with everybody else. The durability is a big concern. Will he be able to just, scrap this one down into round 3 or round 2? I don't know. Will RJ Harris be able to do that? Probably not. He has one decision win, but everything outside of that is a round 1 finish. And he's a big dude. Wouldn't be mad if he lost, but I am going to go with Alvin Hines in this one. I think him at minus 125 makes sense. The fight to go over 1.5 rounds, too, is a sneaky good bet because neither of these guys, yes, they're finishers, but I don't see either of them rushing into this fight or trying to create something that's not there. They're both pretty smart guys. I wouldn't be surprised if the fight goes a little bit longer than people think. And Harris sub at plus 575 to me is crazy odds. Like I said, he's a submission guy. He's submitted 4 out of his 5 opponents in his professional MMA career. So at plus 575, I don't hate that either. But give me Alvin Hines, the return, to get it done via round 2 TKO. Next up is Alden Correa and Stuart Nickel. Alden Correa, he went 5-2 in LFA before joining the UFC. He rolled to a 2-0 start. Had a win over Alessandro Costa as well, which has aged really well for him. He's a teammate of Joshua Van, though, at 5 Ounce Fight Club, even though they're in the same weight class. He's riding a 6-fight unbeaten streak dating all the way back to 2024. He had one fight that was a no contest, got overturned. He ended up winning that fight anyways. His style, he's got great size for the division. Almost always has a size advantage over his opponents. I think he's like 5'7" or 5'7.5", maybe 5'8", but the reach is really great as well. I really don't know how his body composition makes up to 125. He looks like a true bantamweight, really. But he's very clean, technical fighter. He fights a lot like Joshua Van. He fights a lot like Joshua Van, just with more reach, I think. And like if Joshua Van wasn't so undersized, his boxing's really, really good. He just kind of likes to stand on the outside, pick apart his opponents, use his length, moves really well. This guy's boxing's really, really good. His opponent, Stuart Nickel, is not really, really good. He went 8-0 on the regional scene, though. He had 7 finishes, was a super dangerous guy, debuts in the UFC in 2024, and now he's 0-3. Probably looking to get cut soon. He's been finished twice as well. His style, he was a super dangerous guy on the regionals, like I said. He's just looked really timid in the UFC so far. Can't get anything going. He will relentlessly try and take the fight to the mat. And has had problems with cardio in the past as well. Like he'll relentlessly try and force these grappling exchanges and then just not have the gas tank to back it up. Maybe he'll land a takedown. Maybe he won't. But regardless, he's running out of gas pretty soon. And he's not doing anything if he's able to get the fight to the mat. And most of the time, he's not even able to do that. So he's looking like more of a guy that's just a regional scene threat. My prediction for this one, give me Alden Correa to get it done via decision. He's not a big finisher, but I wouldn't be surprised if he finds a KO in this one. Stuart Nickel, like I said, has been finished twice, and I really think Alden Correa is one of the better up-and-coming guys at 125. Give me the over on significant strikes for Alden Correa. That should be an easy give, especially because I don't think this fight's going to go the distance, or because I don't think this fight's going to be finished inside the distance. I think it'll go all 15 minutes. Correa's output is, I don't want to say like super high. He can be not low output, but just regular output at times. But I think that stacked over 15 minutes. Stuart Nickel is really bad, you guys. Correa KO decision at minus 225 might be the best value on the card. I do not think Stuart Nickel is UFC level at all. And I think Alden Correa is actually really, really good. Should be easy shmoney for Alden Correa, to be quite honest. I think Stuart Nickel probably gets cut after this one. The technical ability of Alden Correa, the reach, everything's just going to be too much, in my opinion. Stuart Nickel, I mean, if he can unlock some of this magic that he had on the regional scene and find a finish, all power to you. That's probably what he's got to do to win this one. But give me Alden Correa to get it done via decision. This should be a little fun one. Levi Rodriguez Jr. and Felipe Franco. Levi Rodriguez Jr., He's a 5-0-1 fighter with 5 round 1 finishes. His one no contest was a win on the Dana White Contender Series that he was awarded. I have no idea why it was overturned to a no contest. He finished the guy in round 1. Seemed pretty straightforward, easy win. I watched it back. I have no idea why it got overturned. But he is making his UFC debut. His style, absolute brute, really nasty KO power. Just looks to kind of throw these wild hooks. Hope they land and shut your lights off. He does swing wild, but when he connects, it's complete wraps. I mean, this guy's got disgusting power. He is built a little bit better, and I think he will look better than what he looks on the graphic on fight night. He slims out a little bit better. He was looking a little tubby in these pictures. I'm not sure what that's all about. But his opponent, Felipe Franco, he went 8-0 with a 100% finishing rate on the regional scene in Brazil. Got a shot on the Contender Series, loses. Then he goes back to the regionals, gets a couple more wins. Now he made his UFC debut a few months ago against Mario Pinto at heavyweight, where he was clearly not a heavyweight, but he was able to go to a decision with Mario Pinto. His style, a dangerous guy, tons of explosivity and really solid anti-grappling. He's built lower to the ground, and like I said, he is super explosive, so he gets those underhooks really well, can sprawl really well. Just looked really timid in his UFC debut, and I'll give him some slack. Yeah, he wasn't able to enter range, but at the same time, he was fighting Mario Pinto, who's like 6'5", like he's huge and a true heavyweight, and Felipe Franco is just not that. So it's tough. The one fight that I was able to get like a full breakdown of him on, he wasn't really like, it's not a apples to apples comparison as to what this fight is going to be. But regardless, my prediction for this fight, this one's tough. This one's really tough. Both of these guys are pretty evenly matched and have similar styles. I am going to take Levi Rodriguez Jr. to get it done via round 1 KO. It's super close. I don't like picking a money line in this one. I will say I hate MMA math, but I don't want to say I base my whole prediction off this because I haven't. But both of these guys do have one common opponent in both of their relatively short careers. I don't know the guy's name. They fought them on the Contender Series each time. Levi Rodriguez knocked him out in round 1. Felipe Franco got submitted by this guy in round 3. Do with that information what you will. Is it playing into my decision? Yes. But it's not everything. It's a super 50-50. Both of these guys are really explosive. I don't like picking a money line here. I do like the fight to go under 1.5 rounds. They're both, come to bang. It'll be an explosive fight for sure. Should end pretty quick as well. So I like the fight to go under 1.5 rounds, especially at minus 115. I feel like that's pretty good value. I'm picking Levi Rodriguez Jr. Don't feel great about it, but regardless, that's who I'm rocking with in this one. Next up is another pretty good one, at least I think. John Paul Labozniani versus Seokyeon Ko, the Korean Tyson is his nickname. John Paul Labozniani went 8-2 on the regionals. Gets a nasty round 1 KO on Dana White Contender Series. It was a high kick, stiffened him up, and then he came in with like another elbow or a follow-up and was able to crumple him. Debuted last February with a really close split decision win against Phil Rowe. His style, really athletic kickboxer, moves great, has solid technicality. He throws those high kicks with such precision and such flexibility. Pretty basic wrestling, can shoot double legs, land takedowns, not dominant or advanced, I'd say, on the ground. He does have a pretty decent BJJ pedigree, I believe. I could be wrong about that, though. His opponent, Seokyeon Ko, went 10-2 on the regional scene. He was an AFC champion, not the American Football Conference, but the fight promotion, the AFC. He was champion over there, gets a decision win and a contract on Dana White Contender Series in 2024. He's 2-0 in the UFC, 2 really dominant decisions. His style, one of the best young and upcoming grapplers in the entire UFC. This guy's got pound for pound. We'll hold off on what I was about to say. Relentless control grappler that's able to stay so heavy on his opponent. This guy has a really high grappling IQ as well. Is able to tie up his legs. He has good stand-up, though. He has 6 career KO wins. So it's obviously there. It's not like he's just a grappler. This guy's a true mixed martial artist with some really, really dominant grappling. Not a lot of people are talking about this guy because he's been labeled as kind of boring. But, when you look at this overall scope of the division and just the sport, as a whole, this dude has some real potential to make some noise, for sure. I actually think he's one of the best upcoming prospects. My prediction, if you can't already tell, I am going to go with Seok Ko to get it done via decision. Ko's grappling, like I said, it's just next level. And JPL, he's actually a good fighter. I like him. These are two good prospects too. Whoever wins this fight is almost nearing like a ranking fight next. JPL, good striking. It's just I don't think the ground game is nearly where, or is not anywhere where it, not anywhere where it needs to be in order to beat Seok Ko. I think he's just going to take him down and wrestle fuck him, to be honest. Maybe he'll pull off a submission. Maybe he'll do something maybe a little bit more fun. But I don't think so. I think it's just going to be a pretty boring decision. I actually kind of like watching Ko grapple. For some reason, he makes it a little bit more fun. Let me know what you guys think if this happens. But his money line at minus 205 to me is free. Hopefully this doesn't age poorly, but I feel like that's free at minus 205. And the fight to go the distance at minus 142 is a really good bet. Ko has been to a bunch of decisions, and even JPL on the feet isn't a huge finisher. Yeah, he's had some cool finishes in the past, but he's not a huge finisher. So I'd like the fight to go the distance. But yeah, give me Seok Ko to get this one done via decision. Two more pretty good prospects up next, Austin Bashi and Jose Miguel Delgado. Austin Bashi went on a huge 12-0 run on the regional scene, came champion in lights out combat, gets a win on the Contender Series, and since then he's been 1-1 in the UFC so far, coming off of a pretty dominant win against John Yanis, where I think he submitted him in round one. His style, relentless submission grappler, will fire takedowns constantly. He's trying to leap onto your back, find the submission at all costs. He can't be exposed in the stand-up, but he does such a good job of constantly firing takedowns to where he's either always shooting a takedown, always trying a takedown, in top position, on your back, or in the clinch, that it doesn't really, or it hasn't mattered so far. You know, he does a great job of just never being at range and exchanging there. His cardio is crazy too. This guy can seriously shoot takedowns and try takedowns for 15 minutes and it will not matter. He's done it before. He will probably try and do it in this one. His opponent, Jose Miguel Delgado, went 7-1 in the regionals. KO win on the Contender Series, then starts his career with the KO win over Hyder Emil, where he had a really nasty, I think it was like a flying knee that knocked him out in round one at UFC 317 last year. Loses a razor close fight to Nathaniel Wood in a fight that I actually thought he won. Bounced back most recently with a decision win over Andre Philly. Wasn't very close. I thought he won it pretty decisively, but others think it was a little bit more of a closer fight than it was. His style, really crafty Muay Thai striker, loves the flying knees, loves throwing knees up the middle, has struggled to be clean and keep a higher volume to really emphasize his wins. Yes, I'm a bit of a fan, so maybe I have a skewed view of some of these wins. I think he's winning pretty decisively, but he is leaving a bit up for debate. Like I said, I think maybe one of the judges gave it to Philly. I don't think so. I think it was unanimous, but people think Andre Philly somehow won that fight. He has struggled to really win with emphasis before in the past, and he's kind of makes a habit of creating these really close fights when I don't think they have to be. My prediction for this fight, give me Austin Bashi, unfortunately. Get this one done via round 2 sub. I love Jose Miguel Delgado. He's one of my favorite unranked guys at 145. It's just the level of anti-grappling and persistence that you need to have against Austin Bashi. I just don't think Jose Miguel Delgado's got it. He's got these really long, skinny legs that I'm afraid are just going to get exposed and wrapped up. He's just not faced a grappler like this before, I don't think. He's a Muay Thai guy. Stylistically, I don't love this. Now, is there a world where, you know, he's able to work a Thai clinch and just kind of destroy him there, land really nasty shots? Yes, that's a possibility. Do I think it's going to be like, Jose Miguel Delgado's getting underhook, sprawling, and piecing him up at range, and Austin Bashi's gassing out, and no, I don't think that's going to happen. But Jose Miguel Delgado does have a really solid shot in this one. The line has moved really big in favor of Austin Bashi. I think he opened as like a plus 170, 180, maybe even in the 200s, and it's moved all the way to a complete pick'em. I unfortunately like him just a little bit more in this one, and that's how you know I actually really think he's going to win, because I love Jose Miguel Delgado, and I love picking my guys. I hope he wins. I hope he proves me wrong, but I just don't see it happening. I like Bashi sub decision at minus 110 and Bashi over on takedowns as well. I think he's going to find a few, and even if Jose Miguel Delgado gets back up to his feet, I think he's going to take him right back down. So yeah, give me him to get this one done via round 2 sub. Baby Shark, Tabitha Ricci, and Fatima Klein is up next. Tabitha Ricci only had 3 fights of true MMA and LFA before getting signed to the UFC in 2021. She loses her debut, and since then, though, she's gone 7-3. She lost her most recent fight in a co-main event against Verna Jandiroba early this year. Her boyfriend is also Callum someone. He's a Zuffa boxer who's actually pretty good. I don't know. I don't watch boxing. But the UFC likes to promote him and her together because they're like this couple. That's kind of the most notable thing, honestly, about Tabitha Ricci. She's a solid fighter, but that's the most notable thing, I think, for sure. Her style, BJJ grappler with decent sub ability, does a good job of staying heavy on top, but her stand-up is fairly average. I don't think I'm doing it justice. Her dirty boxing can be pretty solid. She uses it to kind of muddy up the fight, and we'll find like unique takedown entries. It's just she's not super high level on the ground. She's not super high level on the feet, but she does enough everywhere to kind of make a really solid fighter of herself. Her opponent, Fatima Klein, she only started MMA in 2021, but in 3 years, she's earned her way to the UFC in just 6 fights on the regional scene. She debuted with a loss against Jasmine Jasudavicius, but since then, she's been 3-0 in the promotions, becoming one of the best prospects in women's MMA. Her style comes from a really big grappling background. She had tons of pro grappling matches before transitioning to MMA. Her striking game is evolving, but it's still pretty good. I mean, for only, like I said, training MMA for a few years, she's actually doing a really good job. Stand-up. Does an excellent job of getting damage off as well, however she can. She is a more exciting fighter to watch for sure. My prediction for this one, give me Fatima Klein to get it done via decision. I just think she's better everywhere the fight goes. I think she's better everywhere the fight goes for sure. Ricci should try and keep this one standing. She can try and muddy up the fight, like I said, with her dirty boxing. That's kind of the best chance she's got. I think Fatima Klein, though, is even better there. I won't spend too much time on this one. To me, this is pretty straightforward. I wouldn't be surprised if Fatima Klein maybe finds a finish in the later rounds, but I'm going to play it safe and go decision. And her money line at minus 450 makes sense. It's not like overly great value. I think that makes sense. Regardless, I still think she's going to get it done via decision. The people's main event now, Tommy McMillan and Venezuelan Ilia Topuria, Alberto Montez. Tommy McMillan, one of the more already known prospects, I guess, in the UFC. He's 10-0 undefeated, and he's the training partner of Sean O'Malley at Red Hawk with Tim Welch. He got a win on Dana White Contender Series and a round 1 finish in his debut against a complete can in Manolo Zucchini. Kind of surprised he isn't fighting another one of those cans. The UFC kind of, I thought they knew what they were doing with this guy. I thought they were going to try and push him a little bit harder, let him crush some more cans. It's not what's happening. He's kind of jumping into a really good fight here against Alberto Montez. His style, former high school state champion wrestler. I missed that last time. But I'll get it this time. He's a former high school state champion wrestler. Really got really good submission ability as well. Thrives in chaos on the feet. Throws very wild and reckless, or he threw very wild and reckless like a complete psycho in his most recent fight. I don't know if that was like because he could, or if because that's what he wants to do, that's what he's going to do, or like I said, because he just could afford to because he was fighting somebody that wasn't very talented. His opponent, Alberto Montez, he's an 11-1 fighter that got a submission win on the Dana White Contender Series in 2024, struggled with an injury, finally made his way back to the UFC to debut at UFC 326, where he got a submission over Ricky Turcios. His style, really good submission grappler, has a nasty and very unique anaconda choke. I think he has 6 straight anaconda choke wins. Should probably have had that on the graphic and have that fact checked ready for you guys, but I'm pretty sure it's like 5 or 6 straight anaconda choke wins. It's something about the grip and the way he like rolls into it. I have no idea, but it is disgusting, and he uses it all the time. It's kind of like a glitch. Very technical on the feet, but cardio has been a bit of an issue in the past with him. He will also be at a fair size disadvantage in this one. Tommy McMillan is a lot bigger than him. My prediction for this fight, this is another really close one. I'm not super into betting on this one. I also don't know who I truly want to win. I like both of these guys a lot. Whoever wins is going to be a really good segue into, or I don't want to say, whoever wins this one is going to be a much bigger name and probably looking to fight within the rankings fairly soon. I don't want to say next, but maybe one fight and then they get a ranking shot. I will take Alberto Montez, though, to get it done via round 1 sub. He is the underdog, and I really don't know why. Tommy McMillan is fun. Don't get me wrong. Like he's super fun, and I wouldn't mind to see him win this fight. It's just Alberto Montez has faced so much better competition. His ground game, I just can't get over how rough Tommy McMillan looked in his debut. The way he came out swinging all wild like that. On the feet, yes, I think I would probably favor Tommy McMillan. Cardio-wise, I also favor Tommy McMillan. He looked great in the finishing, the final minute of that Dana White Contender Series fight that he had, where he was kind of screaming at the guy, letting stuff go like Max Holloway style. Regardless, I think Montez at plus 140 is really good value. Even, this fight's, I thought he would be at least like a minus 170, something like that. He's in plus money. I think that's great. He opened as the favorite too, and the line shifted all the way to Tommy McMillan being the favorite. McMillan KO at plus 265 is a pretty good high value straight. This is a pretty good fight where I think you can just find the value within two outcomes, in a McMillan KO and a Montez money line. And the fight not to go the distance at minus 365. I love that bet. Both of these guys are super exciting and fun. Should not be looking to fight for all 15 minutes. This is close. This is probably outside of the main event, the fight I'm looking forward to the most. But I will be taking Alberto Montez to get it done via round one submission. Chase Hooper and Mitch Ramirez is up next. Chase Hooper joins the UFC in 2019 as a featherweight. He went 3-3, got finished 3 times, had 3 finishes. Then he moved up to lightweight and went on a really good 5-fight win streak. I think he had a decision win over Jim Miller and a couple more finishes. Was looking like a really strong prospect, and then he's gotten finished in both of his last 2 fights. He spent way too much time gooning. If you guys know the clip, you guys know the clip. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. His style, really good BJJ grappler. Lengthy and dangerous limbs allow for him to just kind of like latch onto his opponents, slide his arm, underneath people's necks. His BJJ is super high level. He just does not wear damage well at all. He's got a really bad chin, and just overall durability is bad. If you can stack on nasty shots on this guy, it won't be very long before he's ready to call it quits. It's not like a heart thing. It's just genuinely his frame and build and everything just does not really stack up well to hold damage. He's more there to take the fight to the ground and submit people. His opponent, Mitch Ramirez, he went on a huge undefeated run on the regional scene, gets a shot on Contender Series, and runs into a guy named Carlos Prates, where he gets finished by that man, Carlos Prates. He then gets a shot in the UFC after going back to LFA and getting a dub, and he's now 0-2 in the UFC. Getting finished both times. One time, I think, was a submission, and the other one was a leg kick KO. His style, really solid scrapper. He's just not technical or skilled enough for the UFC, but he's too good for the regionals. So he's kind of like a lightweight, what's that British guy? Harry Hardwick. Just kind of lightweight Harry Hardwick. Bad takedown defense, struggles against dynamic strikers. He'll come to scrap. He's entertaining, but technically just not there. My prediction for this fight, give me Chase Hooper to get it done via round one submission. Mitch Ramirez takedown defense isn't great. Obviously, I feel like he's been working on it, but sometimes it's just not enough. Chase Hooper's got really good submission ability. Mitch Ramirez is a big step down for him. Yeah, Chase Hooper's been KO'd twice, and if you think Mitch Ramirez can get it done and KO him, I think Chase Hooper on the feet really isn't that bad. It's just he can't really wear damage. He does have some athleticism on the feet, though. This is another one where I think you can just get these 2 outcomes and make money either way. I feel like it's a pretty straightforward Hooper sub or Ramirez KO. Ramirez KO being at plus 600 is probably the best overall bet, just because it's happened 2 times in a row. And Mitch Ramirez clearly has dangerous KO power. I mean, hot damn, look at them right next to each other. Mitch Ramirez is huge compared to Chase Hooper. It's not all about that sometimes in MMA. And that's why I'm taking Chase Hooper, because I think his BJJ and grappling is just a level above that of Mitch Ramirez's. So give me him to get it done via round one submission. The co-main event of the evening, Jared Cannonier and Christian Leroy Duncan. Jared Cannonier used to fight in heavyweight. Transformed his body completely 2 different times, actually. He's one of 3 fighters now, since Max Holloway technically got a KO. He's one of 3 fighters to have KOs in 3 different weight classes, along with Conor McGregor and, like I mentioned, Max Holloway. He used to be a contender at middleweight. He has a win over Sean Strickland. Like, this guy is no slouch. He was a really good gatekeeper for like the top 5, top 10-ish of the division, and he still is. He's been on a tough skid, though, recently. He's losing 3 of his last 4 fights, and he is 42 years old. That is worth mentioning. I think he's definitely nearing the end of his career. The notes on, or the style of him, he's a brute striker with really good stamina, but declining movement skill has really bugged him in his most recent fights. Has grappling as well. He can, when in position, his ground and pound is some of the most nasty in the entire sport. The power that he generates somehow is just crazy. His opponent, Christian Leroy Duncan, he went 7-0 in Cage Warriors, was a champion over there before joining the UFC in 2023. Pretty hyped up prospect, actually, before joining the UFC. But so far, he's gone 7-2. He's on a 4-fight win streak. He has gone up from welterweight as well. He's one of the more interesting young contenders in the division. And this is going to be a pretty good test for him. I think he's ready. But Christian Leroy Duncan's a guy that not a lot of people talk about just because of the 2 losses that he's already had. And he's already got so many fights in his UFC career, despite only being less than 3 years into it. But his style, very unorthodox and dangerous striker, loves throwing spinning attacks, even though sometimes they don't make a whole lot of sense and they can cost him in fights. Moves very well on his feet, but will struggle against control grappling. We saw that improved pretty well against his most recent fight against Roman Dolidze, where he was able to scramble pretty well, avoid the dangerous submissions, but Roman Dolidze was able to steal around from him and was able to still control him on the ground for a couple minutes. If he gets in a bad position against Cannonier, I really worry. Because like I said, the ground and pound ability of Cannonier is so good. My prediction for this one, I'm going to take Christian Leroy Duncan to get it done via decision. Maybe a late round finish. Maybe we see that. Cannonier, if it was a 5-round fight and like an Apex main event, I would maybe not favor him, but I would be a little more hesitant to take Christian Leroy Duncan because of the 5-round experience and the overall durability that Cannonier has proven that he has time and time again. But I think with the speed advantage, just the overall movement ability of Christian Leroy Duncan, he has so many more weapons at his disposal as well. If he can stay out of the way of Cannonier's massive hooks, avoid, bad positions on the ground, I think he can find a pretty easy win here. Obviously, it's Jared Cannonier. He's still doing what he's doing. He's no slouch. Christian Leroy Duncan's going to have to fight a good fight, but I think it is a pretty favorable matchup for him. I like his money line at minus 350. I think it makes sense. A Cannonier KO, though, is always a possibility at plus 650. I don't hate that. And the fight to start in round 3 at minus 196. I don't hate either. Yeah, both of these guys can finish, but Christian Leroy Duncan and Jared Cannonier are both maybe later round finishing guys to an extent. Yes, they've had their fair share of finishes early, but more recently they've gone into round 3 at a pretty high rate. I like Christian Leroy Duncan in this one. Give me him via decision. Thank God. Thank God he's back, you guys. I've missed this man. I don't know about you, but I have really missed DDP. Dricus Du Plessis takes on Kamaru Usman. For some reason, this fight is happening in Oklahoma City and not Africa. I don't know why. We could have built a really cool Africa card. Maybe I'll make a video building an Africa card. But this fight is taking place in OKC for the main event. Dricus Du Plessis, former UFC middleweight champ, beat Sean Strickland twice and Israel Adesanya. He also has a win over Robert Whittaker and Brad Tavares when Brad Tavares was a pretty solid win. Loses his belt in dominant fashion last summer against Khamzat Chimaev. Now he's taken a year off from the sport, coming back. Truly has some of the best mic skills and one of the best personalities in the whole UFC. This guy's hilarious. I absolutely love DDP. I know he caught a lot of haters because there was a lot of Adesanya fans and he made Izzy cry, and there's a bunch of Strickland fans and he made Strickland cry. But I love DDP. He's my guy. His style, very awkward, but a true mixed martial artist for sure. Always somehow just seems to find a way. He can look like he's getting his ass kicked. He'll look like he's super tired. He will start breathing out of his mouth. He's supposedly got that fixed. He just has trouble breathing out of his nose. So he just breathes out of his mouth and looks like he's exhausted, but he's not. He actually has proven time and time again that he's not exhausted. He's always able to get it done. He's always at his best when he's blitzing, moving forward and creating chaos. He has just this really unique way. His kickboxing is super high level. I think he was an amateur kickboxing champion. But when he's moving forward, blitzing, throwing things that just his opponents can't really calculate, he's at his best. There will be moments, though, where you're like, how is this guy a world champion? How is this guy the number 2 middleweight in the world? It's going to happen, but that's what makes him so fun to watch. His opponent, Kamaru Usman, top 3 welterweight of all time. Former champ that ran through everyone in the division, got sniped by Leon Edwards in one of the most famous UFC KOs in history. kind of began his downfall. Lost to Leon Edwards then again after that. And then he lost to Khamzat Chimaev. And a loss that's aged pretty well. And then he bounced back last summer against Joaquin Buckley where he got a win. He's only fought once, though, since 2024, and he's almost 40 years old. His style, really high IQ control wrestler with some of the best pound-for-pound wrestling in the entire sport. His loss, like I said, against Khamzat has aged really well. The grappling that he displayed in that matchup. Age and overall physical health have been a big concern. Yes, like people joke about like him not having knees. It is kind of a real concern, though, to be quite honest. He's getting up there. He does a great job of firing the jab, but the grappling and control grappling is where Kamaru Usman really, really thrives, especially as he's kind of reached this twilight of his career. My prediction for this one, you guys know what I'm taking. Give me DDP to get this one done via decision. It could be a late round finish. It could be an early round finish. It's a DDP fight, you guys. We have no idea what's going to happen. We just know he's going to find a way. DDP is just too explosive. Yes, there is a worry that Kamaru Usman's going to steal 3 rounds of control time and get it done via a boring decision where he just barely ekes one out because he control wrestled. I don't think, though, that's as big of a concern. DDP, he's so explosive. It's up a weight class, too, where Kamaru Usman really isn't used to fighting at 185. On the feet, he's more dynamic. I just like DDP in this one really everywhere. Obviously, in the wrestling, if it's a pure wrestling match, Kamaru Usman's going to take it. But DDP's worked on wrestling this past year that he's taken off from the sport. Getting him at minus 245 is big time. I love that. I'm going to hammer that. And you can take the Usman over on takedowns because I think he'll probably give up. DDP will give up a couple takedowns, but he's going to scramble and get back to his feet. I see him getting this one done with pretty relative ease. Excuse me, I'm running out of breath. This is how much I fucking love DDP. I got him getting it done via decision. At minus 245, this is just, to me, it's a gimme. It'll be a fun main event for sure. Not sure, again, why it's taking place in OKC, United Africa, but I got DDP getting it done. Well, if you fast forward to this part, welcome. And if you've watched the entire way, thank you for watching. To break down and recap everything betting-wise, high-value straights. I say this every video or almost every video I try to. These are things I putting low money, $5, $3, $1 on that can maybe try and pay for the rest of the card betting-wise if it hits. I like Harris sub, Montez moneyline, McMillan KO, Hooper sub, Ramirez KO, and Cannonier KO as pretty decent outcomes that I think the realistic chance that this happens is much higher than the actual value that's given on the card. Some of these are just, fights that you can maybe hedge in and of itself within dual outcomes. Parlay legs. I'm not feeling great about this card betting-wise, just overall in general. This is a hard card to pick. This is a hard card to bet on. You could not bet on it. We don't have to be betting on everything, you guys. Okay, maybe we have to bet on everything. But if I had to, since you're making me, I am going to take the parlay legs of Correa decision, KO decision. That double chance is a good way to kind of cut down his value into a minus 225. Dricus moneyline, Sokyung Ko moneyline. Those are 2 picks, really the only 2 moneyline picks that I'm like super overly confident in. That I think makes sense value-wise. I like Barbosa a lot, but her money line isn't really good enough value. And then Rodriguez and Felipe Franco under 1.5 rounds. That's maybe the only one that I'm a little hesitant on just because there's so much unknown with both of those guys. But that should be a pretty big given. I am confident in that, but I guess to say with caution, that is the thing I am least confident about in parlay legs. Still confident enough to put it in there and give you guys a 4th parlay leg. If you combine all 4 of those, it should actually give you a pretty good payout. That should lead you to a pretty good parlay. Or if you want to throw some other stuff in there, take some stuff out. But those are things that I really like, that I'm super confident in, that I think you guys can, have as a backbone of any parlay that you want to place. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is hopefully, I don't know, this might be a shorter video. There's not as many fights on this card. The very first fight on the card I did not break down because it was a short notice ad. I don't have time for that. I don't get the time. But I did have time to make this whole breakdown. Hopefully you guys liked it. I'll be back with a recap. I'm going to recap every single fight, including the first one. I will recap it, but I'm just not going to break it down. Don't bet on that one, you guys. Don't bet on it. It's a very bad choice. We don't know any of those guys. We don't know. They're from the regional scene. This should be a contender series fight. Just lay off, okay? Just take a break. Enjoy the fights. And then bet on DDP, your life savings. Put it all on him. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm super juiced up. This is going to be super fun. Fight night. Main event's going to be fun. DDP's making his return. I'm super excited. I will see you guys maybe tomorrow, maybe Monday for a recap video. And hopefully we can get another video that's not just one of these. These take a long time. I'm sorry, but I'm going to try and get more stuff out. I will see you guys then. Thank you so much for watching. See ya.